7 o'clock.
All right, yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
I'm the only one in.
Okay, good.
Doing great.
Okay, here we are. Tell me when there's more people in here.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
Can you see him come up? You got
Oh, yes. All right. Hey, guys. I'm Kate Holmes. I am the founder and chef at Carried Away Chefs. We are a personal chef and catering company in New York City. And when we're not hunkering down in our homes, we're doing amazing catered events, large and small, custom, and we also do a weekly personal chef service. So that is great. For the past 5 or 6 weeks, I've been at home, homeschooling, coming up with new recipes, cooking for my family. They're actually loving it because it's not just the weeknight stress meals. It's like we're really cooking next level. So tonight we're going to cook together, and I'm super excited about that. So thank you to all of my friends at the American Copper buildings. We do a lot of personal chef services for you guys. And the really cool thing is that I am right across the river from your building. Watched it go up. My kids call it the H building. So everybody's really excited to be a part of your community for the evening. So thank you for joining us. Again, if you're just joining us, we're going to make Ceviche and Avocado Tostadas. This is a precursor to our Cinco de Mayo party. And yeah, so I bet everybody has been just hanging out. I know for me, it's been getting down with PPP and the loans, and that's crazy. So I hope you have your wine. I know I have mine. I chose a Vinho Verde, which is from Portugal, and it means green wine, it's a really light, really crisp. I think it'll go really well with our ceviche tonight, and help me bring it down from the second round of the PPP loans. So again, thank you guys for being here. Let's get started. So, we're making ceviche. And ceviche is one of my all-time faves for appetizers because it can help kick off a Mexican feast in a really light and refreshing way. It doesn't weigh you down. It's kind of spicy. So I think it's a fantastic appetizer. And one of these days it's going to get warm out there, and this is like a perfect summer dish. And there's a lot of different things you can do with it, so we're going to talk about all of them. And my culinary career actually started in the Southwest. I was in Arizona and then moved to Southern California. And outside of Mexico, Southern California, Los Angeles has the best Mexican food. And got a lot of good influence there. My first personal chef clients were... she was Mexican, and her family would teach me all these really cool recipes while I was cooking for them. But this inspiration for this dish came from this taco truck that was just amazing. And if you caught it before the end of the rush, they might not have sold out of these ceviche tostadas. So that's what this dish is based about. I'm actually going to show it to you because I want to get you excited. So here's what we're making. It's going to be amazing. So join me. If you're chopping along, great. If you just want to follow along and do it later, whatever. My business partner, Karen, is trying to answer some questions right now, but if you don't get your answer, stay on. I'll stay on afterward. We'll hang out. We can talk, everything. Okay? So let's talk about our equipment really quick. We just need a nice sharp knife and a cutting board, some spoons, and we're definitely going to use glass bowls today or plastic, but you don't want metal because that's going to react. Metal can react with the acid in the lime juice, and then it's going to mess up the flavor. It could change things a weird color. Like, we don't want to do that. So let's get started. We're first going to get the fish going because the fish actually takes a little while. So if you're following along at home, you're going to need to have your fish hang out for longer than mine. So let's talk. So when you're picking out fish, for this, like a fluke, a sole, tilapia, snapper, they're all really good, mild, white fish that work. But the most important thing is that this is a raw dish. So we want to just ask the fishmonger, hey, what is the freshest white fish you have? because while we're going to cook it with the citric acid and the lime juice, we're not actually putting heat on it. So we don't want anything weird in there because it's not going to cook off like regular. Anyway, so I went to Greenpoint Fish and Lobster, my all-time fave. They were open, love them. And I actually got 2 different fish to show you guys today. This is wild fluke, and this is local to our areas in the Atlantic, Northern Atlantic. And then this is snapper. Snapper's amazing. This is probably from more down south, but it's obviously wild as well. But they're both beautiful options. And so just to talk a little bit about cutting fish, we want to have a sharpened knife. I'm using a slicing knife, but whatever you do, you want it to be sharp. So we are going to slice this thin. Now, the reason why we need to slice it really thin is because as we slice a really thin strip, let me move this so you can see, we're going to slice nice and thin. And as we slice it really thin, it's increasing the surface area. So as we increase the surface area, it's going to cook a lot faster and become really delicate and really nice and not be like a big chunk of fish. So I'm going to slice this up. And one thing I actually left when I was cleaning this before, I left some of the bloodline. This is called the bloodline, and this is on the side where like the muscle moves and everything. It's not, you can eat this, but like if you're going to be serving this raw, it's definitely, I know like my kids, when we cook fish, like they want to pick that off anyway. So what you want to do is when you're cutting, you definitely want to like make sure that you try to do as small amounts of slices as possible. So you hold the knife pretty flat and you just pull it along there. So you're not taking off too much, but you're taking off the part that you don't want to eat because that's just like not going to be beautiful. So I'm going to first slice this all the way through, a couple nice slices. I mean, we've all sat at a sushi counter and watched the guys. You can pretend you're a sushi chef. It's like so fun. Okay, so this was my snapper that I just sliced through, and I'm adding that. I actually got chopping earlier because you didn't want to have to watch all of my cutting. And now this is the fluke, and the fluke is our, this is even more mild, and this is actually a little bit less expensive than the snapper too, so if that is something you want to factor in, something to think about, usually you can get a really good deal, and it's always super fresh and super local to New York City, so I'm a big fan. You actually see this a lot on, this has been trendy in the restaurants in recent years in crudo dishes. You always see a fluke crudo. We do it at Carried Away Chefs. We do it with serrano and citrus, kind of like our own little ceviche in a little porcelain. Oh, we won't talk about that. That's not. So we're going to slice this up and add it into our bowl. So after I did the slices, I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller. Just go through it quick. So, all right. So that is that. And I'm just going to wash my hands real quick. Actually, not real quick. I'm going to sing happy birthday twice while I wash my hands. Because now we all know exactly how to wash our hands. Okay, I'm back. So, the main part of cooking the ceviche, I see some people just join, so I just want to back up quick. We are making ceviche avocado tostadas. We just sliced up our beautiful fluke and snapper. We sliced it nice and thin. And all we're going to do for this is add lime juice. You can also add orange. You can add any kind of citrus. Generally, it's a citrus-based dish. We're doing limes tonight. I like to use a reamer because you will get just more juice out of it. It's a little bit less difficult. And I like to multitask, and I like to make my actions get the most out of them. So we need a little lime juice for our avocado mash for later. So while I'm juicing my limes, I'm just going to save a little. I'm all about being a personal chef. You have to do your own dishes when you're at clients' homes. So I have a lot of tricks of the trade of just like really trying to like economize everything that I'm doing. And it helps because it's the same thing when you're cooking at home and with, you might have kids running around or like a dog that needs to be taken out. Like, you just got to move fast for it to be good. Like recipes that have 8 million steps, like they just don't always work. So, or just not for every day. But this is something that's kind of fancy, like we can really dress it up. But it doesn't have to take a while. I mean, we're not even cooking it. So I'm going to juice these limes. And for the 12 ounces of fish that's in our recipe, it really depends on how juicy your limes are. But you would probably need actually like 4 because we do want to pretty much cover the fish so that it cooks evenly and quickly. If you're a little bit short, that's totally fine. If you're a little short, you just want to make sure you're like in the fridge, like tossing it around more often if it's kind of short, because you just want to make sure that the limes really cover everything. And let's see, so I've done 2.5 limes, and these are pretty nice. They're getting a lot of juice, so this looks like it's going to be pretty good. So check this out. Oh, I have a dish towel over here. Again, with my non-reactive spatula, I like to add, at this point, a little bit of salt. We're going to season it more later, but the salt is also going to help draw out the moisture and get that cooking process going, as well as season it. So let's just stir this around and make sure that we're pretty much covered there. Since I have extra, I think I'm going to add 1 more lime. Get rid of these. So here is, let's see, we'll go 1 more half a lime, and then we will get this chillin'. Just needs to sit. So what happens is, it's called denaturing. The proteins get denatured by the citric acid in the lime juice. So it goes from that soft, raw texture to more of that opaque and like al dente kind of bite of a cooked piece of fish, and that becomes more palatable, and it's lovely. So that is what we're doing right now. So this is beautiful. It's just a little bit of salt and a lot of lime juice, and we are going to pop that in the fridge, and we're going to check on it in about an hour. But I'm not going to make you guys sit here for an hour. We have another one that's been going for a little bit, so we're good. But right now, next things next, we're going to make our tostada shells. So tostada shells are really just hard, flat corn tortilla shells. You can buy them already made, but a lot of us always have corn tortillas in the fridge anyway, so we might as well just use those, bake them for like 15 or 20 minutes. So we do 375, 15 or 20 minutes. I like to throw a little bit of olive oil on them. Maybe just a couple. Watch this trick. If you don't have like a brush or anything, you're going to take a little cumin. Cumin is super strong and pungent, but lends like such a beautiful flavor. So we're going to just dust that a little bit. And then a little salt, because everything should have a ton of flavor and come out. The flavor should come out on everything. So watch. So with the olive oil here, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do a little of that. Share the love. And then these will get popped in my 375 degree oven for 15 or so minutes. You want to check them, but we're just going to leave those whole. All right, so that's going in my oven. And now we're going to start the garnishes. So, I get thirsty from all the talking. So, we are first going to make our avocado mash. And I have my bowl of lime juice that I juiced before. Saved us a little time. I have a fork. I have a knife. And I want to tell you guys about the avocado guy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I just heard about this. And he is New York based and supplies amazing avocados to really high-end restaurants throughout the city. And I heard about his home delivery. And you can just text him. Well, you should follow him. Karen will put up the post. It's Davocado Guy with a D. And he'll deliver these to your house. You can get limes too. It's really awesome. Check this out. Amazing. So, if all else fails, I can live on the avocados because I got a hookup. I got a guy. Who doesn't want a guy? So, anyways, we're going to do half just for our purposes now. And we're going to scrape that right in to this bowl. And just take this fork, throw in some salt. So the thing with the avocado, we're not trying to make a guacamole because really this avocado mash is just going to be a creamy accoutrement to our bright and refreshing and tangy ceviche. So we don't have to add any texture. We don't have to add any spice. We just want to get it really nice and creamy to kind of lend that fat to the nice bright fish dish. So smash this guy up. And seriously, I mean, hearing about this avocado guy, Davocado, maybe it's Dave, I have no idea. I'm never good with that stuff. But it was like so cool. I was like, hey, you got this stuff? I'm ready for the avocados. It's like, yeah, just gotta order 5. So we got to hook up. So the Holmes family is going to survive in Long Island City on avocados if all else fails. Okay, so there's our avocado mash. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's rustico, it's perfect. And we are now going to talk about what we're going to mix into the ceviche when that fish is totally done and amazing. So, thirsty again. I have jalapeno, so we have to add a little spice to this. I want to slice a couple really thin slices that I'm going to use for garnish at the end. Now, sometimes jalapenos are not that spicy. Depends on like what you want, but you got to kind of just taste it and see if it's spicy and figure it out. So when we cut peppers, my jam is to it's a little bit harder on these skinny guys, but I just cut like a fillet essentially of the pepper like right down the side because it stays away from like all the seeds, and then we don't have to clean off the cutting board. Right? What did I say? Always be efficient. That's what we do. So I'm going to take these, and I'm going to give this like a really fine mince. So I'm going to cut them long first, nice and long, and then this is actually, if you really want to talk fancy, we're brunoising this right now. This is a julienne, these skinny ones. And then when we put them all in a row like little soldiers and we just throw the knife right through them really nice and tight, we get a brunoise. Super fancy. We've really upped our game tonight here with these. So I'm going to do a couple more of these because we do have a lot of fish. Although my kids will probably eat this later, so maybe we don't need that many. But we're adding color, we're adding flavor. It's all about the fish and the beautiful lime flavor that we're adding to that, but we do want to have a lot of flavors. So I'm going to add a garlic clove, but I'm not going to chop that up because then it's going to be way too garlicky. So the trick, my trick, what I do, I'm going to take this clove and take this big chef's knife and just put the flat side down and go like this. And now we have a smashed open garlic clove. We're going to toss that in with the fish in a minute, but we're not going to leave it in chopped, so it's not going to be super strong. And okay, so we'll do onion. Red onion is very traditional to ceviche. So everybody, I feel like a lot of people have taken cooking classes these days, and the first thing they usually do is chop onion. So I figure, why not just have a little refresh on that? So we have our cut in half onion, right? We're going to put the flat side down. You always want to work with the flat side. I'm just going to trim this off here a little bit. And then, so crosswise here, we're going to go in with the knife several times, depending on how small you want it. You go as close as you can, all the way in, all the way in. And then we're going to go down. We're going to go down across the top, like this. Okay, and then we'll turn it, and then slice down the side, and now we get our nice little onion dice. Et voila! Looks lovely. Okay. I've also been using Misfits Market lately, which is very cool. You don't have to pick, they just send you the produce, which I actually find really exciting because they don't have to think that hard. It's just like it comes and I'm like, oh, what are we going to make for dinner? Like, this is super fun. So I enjoy that very much. I also found they sent some radishes. So I have this radish, and because it's going to have some beautiful red color, I'm going to slice this up as well. Because who doesn't love some super bright reddish, pinkish colors on their dishes? So I think that we have made everything at this point. And when our tostadas come out of the oven, they look about like this. Okay, so we have this. Some of them are darker. It's totally fine, whatever you like. And we are going to build our ceviche now. So, let's grab that. That one is sitting. So again, if you are at home, give your ceviche a little more time. Just hang out. Just let it hang. Just hang out with us. Because it does need to sit a little bit longer. We are going to... we're going to double check this to make sure we like where it's at. You can see that like the fluke looks like it turned a little bit whiter, but it's opaque. It's not translucent raw fish anymore. My little trick for cooking fish is like you do a little fork test and you see how, this is actually a cake tester which I just broke, but you want to look for resistance when it's raw, and once it's done, it just goes through, and like you just know it's not going to have that like chewy, weird, like not cooked thing anymore. So I like this. I think this is really good. So we're going to strain it through a colander. We don't need that juice anymore. All of our lime flavor is now in the fish. Okay. Just give that a little shake of the colander so that it all gets through. And then we don't need that juice, but we can put this right back in this bowl. We're done with that. Okay. So now we have this like really delicious. Barbara, can you give me a couple spoons?
Paddle spoons.
Yeah. Just for tasting. All right, so now we're gonna add a little spices. So I'm gonna taste this for seasoning first. We want to you season with salt to your liking. And I always add a little more salt than everything. It's actually really good, but just a little salt. And I'm gonna add smoked paprika. This is like one of my all-time favorite things. And this is perfect, especially if you don't want to add a ton of spice because you're not into spice, but this will give you the smoky flavor without the heat. So you can add a little smoked paprika. Just gonna sprinkle that in there. And then we did our garlic clove. Remember this garlic clove? We're gonna toss that in. We're gonna add a little olive oil. Okay. And then we're gonna give that a mix. So the cool thing about this is that we will take this garlic clove out, or else one of your guests is going to have a nice surprise. We don't want to do that. So just remember about the garlic clove. Don't forget. Oh yeah, we talked about that. An hour. Yeah. So we had this. So the fish was in for about an hour and a half. It's going to have a better texture if you wait a little longer. But very good question, because we can do the part where we just strained it off the lime juice. So you can do that the day before, like if you're entertaining. But you don't want to leave it in the lime juice overnight. It'll just get too much. It'll get too tough. It'll almost get a little bit like bitter, like taste like the lime peel, you know. So at the very most 2 hours. As long as so. Also, some of it has to do with the thickness of how you cut it. Like we did this very thin, so an hour and a half tops is great. If you're doing more like chunks, you might need to push it, but no more than a few hours. And then you strain it off. But then you can leave that chilled until the next day and mix this together before your party, if that's your plan. So we have this, and I'm gonna remember now because this is something I would do. It actually has happened to my kids before. They get the garlic clove and like sauce or like whatever. Whoops. I'm Italian, but I'm also a little sensitive to raw garlic. I don't love to leave it in forever, so. We're going to add our jalapenos, some of these, and our red onion. We have our smoked paprika is in there. And I think we're about ready to build this tostada. What do you guys think? It's tasting really good. I think it could be a little spicier. So, now, when we build our tostada, we're going to, let's keep these radishes over here. I'm just going to slice these down the middle. I'll just put this over here. I don't need to. All right, so here we go. We've got our tostada. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And we have our avocado mash. We're just going to spread this down. This is our base. The avocado is actually going to help the shell to not like get weepy and get soggy from the ceviche. So that is great. Here we go. And then we're going to take a little bit of our ceviche. And we're just going to plate this up right on top, as much as you want. So we talked in the recipe about 12 ounces. And for the recipe, I can send you guys a real version of the recipe. Afterward, we have it. You can DM, and I can send it to you. So we'll connect. We'll connect on that. Don't worry. And this is our beautiful tostada. So if I were entertaining, like I love like fine dining plated events. Like I would take this and I would take some cilantro and I would chop up a little cilantro for the top. You know, maybe put a little leaves on top. And then we have our radishes, and you could plate this, you could put microgreens, whatever. There's a couple other fun things. What do you think? How about that? I mean, how good does that look? Right? Let's have a party. Oh, you know what? I should have margarita. We're going to do margaritas, but that's not till Cinco de Mayo. So, I can get you one of these aprons, Rosie. I can. We can. I have some. I have lots. Thank you, by the way. So, more things we can do with the ceviche. So we just made this beautiful, beautiful bowl of ceviche. We don't have to individually plate it. We can put it in a nice bowl, and we can take our tostadas, and we can break them into chips, and we can just do family style, right? People can just come over and like make their appetizers, like make their hors d'oeuvres. If we really want to get fancy, if we really want to get carried away, then when we make our tostadas, we can either just use already made chips, or we can like cut them into smaller circles with a cookie cutter before we bake them, and then we can make canapes, right? I mean, this is like my jam. Somebody walks over, they're like, would you like this? This is delicious. And you're like, I'll take 10. Thank you. So I've had a really good time. Guys, thank you for being here and for making tostadas with me. And for hanging out on Friday night. This has been really nice. It's amazing that the girls did not come in. We gave them a movie, probably some tranquilizers. I'm totally just kidding. They actually like the ceviche a lot. They're going to come out and have it in a minute, but we didn't get to see it. That's cool. Thank you again. And again, I'm Kate Holmes from Carried Away Chefs. Feel free to follow me. It's Kate Holmes the Chef, no L in Holmes, because that would be boring. And it's Carried Away Chefs. So I hope to see you guys again. We will be doing this again. We're making tomatillo chicken in our next warm-up to Cinco de Mayo. So we'll see you guys all again soon. Good night.